I was spending a lot of time on TikTok, but I feel like that was kind of a waste. Um, I was having a lot of fun doing that, but I'm just not getting the following, the views that I would hope to with all the time that I've invested making videos and like shorts or whatever. And so back to YouTube. There's my kitty. I'm getting over will be my third illness. I feel like ever since I moved back to Pennsylvania, I get sick at least 3 times every winter. So right now I'm getting over some sort of virus that like started in my left ear. My left ear still feels kind of like clogged, in case anybody's wondering. Um, yeah, something about the seasons changing a lot here, see, and the cold especially. Um, I don't remember getting this sick back in Arizona nearly as much, but I also didn't have a little one. A lot of times I get uh sick here just from, so I don't really like doing live videos. I'd rather do like a video and then post it. But anyway, I don't have an audience, so it's just too distracting. Yeah, I don't get sick too much from, like, you'd think, oh, you get sick from like working at a hospital, or no, because in a hospital you're constantly washing your hands. You generally know when people have something, they're on isolation, so you take special precautions, you wear a mask. It's more like the long hours where you out, and I think that makes you um predisposition to getting sick, not the germs or whatever. Because despite what people think, hospitals are generally fairly clean place. They constantly have janitors going around cleaning up. Um, and, we're constantly wearing gloves and washing our hands. So, like, versus out in public. Usually, when I get sick, it's more from my little one or from my husband. Well, he works in sales, so he's meeting a ton of people and he works with a lot of people and he'll come home with something. This, I don't know how I got it or whatever, but I think I was just kind of worn down, and the spring in Pennsylvania has been like unusually cold this year, so that doesn't help. Hi, Gray. Hi, I'm just giving like a life update. I'm getting over being sick, so I can't really like do as much as what I normally do because I'm trying to still get over this like ear infection virus thing. So, I was going a lot on TikTok, but I got banned from TikTok Live, I think because of um like inappropriate music that came up on my Alexa that I wasn't even trying to play. But anyway, I don't know, I'm banned for 5 years from that. And then I did get in trouble, not in trouble, but I got flagged because I came to YouTube Live and did a live with music, and I forgot about the copyright issues. So I'm not going to be doing that, playing music in my YouTube videos, even though I love music. Yeah. I live in Pennsylvania, so when I lived in Arizona, I would get sick, but it wasn't nearly. I think like your body likes to be like the same, and it doesn't like, even though I like having seasons, I don't think the human body likes having all these like disruptions or whatever, if that makes sense. And also we stay like inside too much, like in Pennsylvania, like your body likes the fresh air, doesn't like um but when it's cold or rainy, you gotta stay inside. Yeah, so anyway, but I was watching a YouTube video and somebody was talking about grief, and I was like, yeah, I should talk about that. I've been through a lot of grief lately. For those of you who don't know, I used to talk on TikTok about this a lot, but I lost, so in this past year, I've lost my dad in the summer, but he had long-standing illnesses, and it's a very complicated relationship that I've had with him. So I feel like I'm dealing with his grief okay, if that makes sense, because I've dealt with so much with that relationship. Thank you. But we lost our two. I used to post I was on my YouTube yesterday and I'm like, oh, I used to post videos of my cats. They both passed away within like 2 days of each other in February. And then I had a fourth miscarriage and we decided to stop trying. That was in December. So I've had like a lot of grief. And it's funny, like you think of grief as just like death, but it's not always like that. Like sometimes the grief is just like letting, like for my situation, it's letting go of like how you thought your life was gonna be or whatever. When you have a lot of pregnancy loss and when you decide to move on, that's been harder than with this last one than like I think with the every miscarriage, every death is hard that you go through in life, but every grief is like different, even with the same person, if that makes sense. So, like with the first miscarriage, it was hard to just accept that I lost, that, I miscarried. But then once you've had so many, it's like, okay, you're more accepting of that, even though you don't like it. But now it's grief of, okay, I'm done with that mom, not mom, because I have a little one, but I'm done with that phase of trying to conceive and yeah, and it's not like a choice that I got. Well, it was a choice, but I feel like it was a choice that was kind of handed to us, if that makes sense. So it's been tough. Thank you. Hello from Ireland. And then with my dad's grief, I feel like I've lost him so many times, even before he died. So I feel like I'm processing that a little bit better because I've had to deal with so much with the relationship with him, if that makes sense. So I've grieved losing him before he died, like a few times, because like at one point I had cut him off. We were estranged, so there's grief in that when you cut off a family member who's being like extremely, I hate to say toxic, but just he was abusive. So, and then I regained a relationship with him once he got disabled and he changed a lot. But he had so many illnesses along the years because of the stroke that he had that I was always constantly like preparing myself for him passing, if that makes sense. And then when it finally happens, it's like, okay, it happened. So I think in some ways that kind of prepared me for him dying at a younger, not like he wasn't super young, but he was in his 70s and I'm in my late 30s, so like a lot of people I know still have their parents. Yes, me and my husband are still together. I've actually been with my husband. I was thinking about this yesterday, that in a few years I'll have been with him longer than I've not been with him, if that makes sense. Because I'm getting older. And I met my husband when I was only 21. We started dating, I believe. So, and I'll be in my 40s soon. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I don't necessarily recommend that to people, but Because when you meet somebody and you're that young, number one, have you dated other people? In our case, yes, we had. But I think you just don't know who you are sometimes when you're that young. And luckily, we grew up and grew together. But sometimes when you're that young and you get in that serious of a relationship, you can grow apart because you don't even know who you are as like an adult yet. Beaches, okay. Oh, okay. I've never actually been to Pittsburgh, but like people sometimes when I would tell them when I lived in Arizona that I was from Pennsylvania, they're like, "Oh, you must be a Steelers fan." I'm like, "No," and actually I've never been to Pittsburgh. People don't realize like how big Pennsylvania is sometimes, I think. Cuz Pittsburgh's like 4 or 5 hours from me. Um I've always wanted to go though. My husband's been to Pittsburgh. Uh I used to live in Phoenix. Thank you. You guys are getting the raw deal. I have no makeup or whatever because I've been sick, so my skin's kind of a mess too. Okay. Yeah, I lived in Phoenix for 10 years, and then we had my daughter during the pandemic, and then we decided to move back because me and my husband both work long hours, we work odd hours, and we had no family support out there. So it was challenging. And also during the pandemic, like a lot of daycares were like shutting down some of their hours. So it was hard to find um, like a reliable, trustworthy daycare for the hours that we needed. And so that's why we moved back. And I'm kind of glad we did because this was before I knew my dad would pass away, and also my husband's grandfather, who he was very close with, he passed away. So I'm glad we got time with them before that. I think that can help with grief sometimes, getting that closure that you need. Although you'll never have enough time with like a loved one when they pass away, you're always like, oh, I wish I had this. I mean, that, and I feel like when your life ends, you'll probably feel the same way, like, oh, I didn't get enough time to do, even if you live to be 100, if that makes sense. Like the days are long, I feel like with life, but life is short. But yeah, like I'm still struggling with my two cats who passed away, and I know that sounds silly, but number one, I always have treated my animals like they're part of my family. And when we moved to Arizona, we really didn't have anybody, and we got these cats. So me and my husband were very attached to these cats, and they moved back home with us, when we moved back to Pennsylvania. And we had them for like 14 years. So I understand they were old, I understand they were suffering, but we did it. They got sick very quick, like right after the other, and their illness has progressed so fast that it's hard to process a little bit. And even though I understand, like, they didn't die in like a tragic way, like unexpected or young, but I thought they were gonna live to be like 20 because I had a couple cats who did that. So I was caught off guard a little bit by them like passing so quickly. And when they're so much a part of your life for so many years, it's still hard. Even if, like, I understand that's how it was meant to be or whatever. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be coming more so on YouTube now when I'm doing cleaning or whatever, since TikTok, I just I was finally starting to get a following, and then they banned me. And you know what? I feel like I worked so hard at building up a following there. When YouTube, I feel like, is probably more my audience anyway. So I'll be trying to come more on here. If that makes sense. Yesterday, I was like, I need to go to a doctor because I worked 2 days prior, and by day 2, you're working 2 12s back to back. I was felt like crap because you work such long hours usually when you work in healthcare. So you've no time to like really rest. So I felt so bad. So yesterday I made a doctor's appointment, but then no sooner did I make the appointment, I started feeling better. And I'm like, of course. So I canceled it, but today is probably the best I've felt. I just hate how, and I shouldn't complain because there's people a lot worse health than me, but I hate how long it takes to recover. Even if you take antibiotics, it still takes like 2 3 days for the antibiotics to kick in, which luckily so far I haven't needed yet, but it was almost to that point. So I guess I should take better care and then I won't be in this mess because I feel like sometimes too, I think my lifestyle is so like go, 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 go that I get worn down and then I get sick too. That's the other thing. So I need to slow down a little bit. Easier said than done. Because somebody at work was like, you get sick a lot. I'm like, I hate that. Because I know I didn't get sick because it's not like, oh, I live an unhealthy lifestyle. Like, I work out, I do my steps, like, pretty much. I was on the longest move streak I've ever been, according to my iPhone, like 50 some days. So, yeah, maybe I should have been taking a day to not do that. Yeah, because I feel like I got sick right after I worked out really hard at the gym. I think I even overdid it, but I just haven't been to the gym in so long. I've been working out at home with like my TikTok walking pad that I got that I love. But it's kind of addicting when your phone's like, good job, good job. Well, I didn't realize like, hey, maybe you need a day off. So, and then even that day when I worked out really hard, I'm like, okay, I'll just take a nap. I couldn't really take a nap because then we had to go to my husband's parents for something, and then we had to go out. We went out with friends afterwards, so I never really recovered. So part of being healthy, other than eating right, working out, is taking enough time to rest, and that is probably the biggest thing I struggle with. Even more so now that I'm a mom. But I'm going to take this as a lesson learned. And who knows, maybe I would have got sick anyway, but I really do think when I get worn down, it's like my immune system just shuts down, and yeah. Just having my morning coffee. My morning coffee. I think too I was getting worn down because I was like drinking so much caffeine and I'm like, it's not even touching me anymore. Well, I thought it was my tolerance, but maybe it was just like my body saying like, hey, you need to rest. I have ADHD, in case you didn't notice. So it's very hard for me to even listen to my body because I've always got a million things going on, and people with ADHD don't, I feel like, especially the inattentive type like me, don't really feel in our bodies, as well as normotypical people. So I think sometimes I miss signals, but I'm gonna be paying more attention because this whole getting sick crap puts you like a week behind. And then you're playing catch up. Like you're trying to get done all these things. So your body shuts down and then you're even more behind. So it's better to just take a break once in a while. So you're not out of commission for a week. And I missed some of work. Like, it was just not good. Not good at all. But anyway, yeah, I thought when I lost my cats, getting back to the whole grief thing, I thought when I lost my cats, like, it wouldn't be too hard because, like, I got so much time with them. They died of, we think both of them had cancer. It was, like, natural. And we didn't let them suffer. We put them down pretty much right away once they gave us their signals. Like, animals, it's hard to know when they're sick, but then when they're ready to go, I feel like they do kind of give you, like, they stop eating, things like that. So I thought, oh, it'll be easier. But it's still, I feel like it was, and I've lost many pets over the years. I've been blessed to have many amazing animals and pets in my life. But it still is hard. Like, it's never easy to lose a pet, to lose a loved one ever. And I've lost so many. You think it gets, but it doesn't. And it's the same with, we've had repeated pregnancy loss. It's never like, oh, well, like, no, it hurts so much. It's painful. Same thing with my dad. Like, yes, I thought he was going to pass away so many times so that when he actually dies, like, you think it would be easier. And I guess a little bit, but you're still grieving the loss of somebody. It doesn't matter if they were sick, if they're not suffering anymore. You still miss, like, what you couldn't have with them. And I think with my dad, it's been tough because I never really got a normal relationship with him ever. And I guess I wasn't meant to, like, some things are just not meant to be. But it's still hard to accept that, but I don't know. I don't know, but you gotta take the good with the bad. Take what you get sometimes. Thank you. Thank you, T. But yeah, so and it's weird how grief comes like that. Like, you'll have, like, years where nobody passes away, nothing. And then you'll have years in your life where it's like one person passed away, then another person, then like, I don't know why it's like that, but grief seems to be like that. And it's like, I'm glad for him that he's not, just like with my animals, like, that he's not suffering anymore. He's not trapped in his disabled body and whatever, he didn't have the best quality of life probably those last years because especially the last couple years because of his illnesses and just being institutionalized. But it's still hard to accept, if that makes sense. It's still hard. Like, you can be glad for somebody that they're not suffering and still miss them, if that makes sense. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we can. I'm just talking about it because I think it's, like, an important topic and probably a lot of people might be able to relate to this. Just let them know you're not alone. But I know some people don't even, everybody deals with it different. So some people, it's too much for them. I get that. Even me, sometimes I'm like, I can't look at another picture. Like, this is too much. Yeah, everybody has, like, a breaking point or whatever. So my daughter is going to be going into kindergarten soon. I've been seeing, like, videos, like, if you had a pandemic baby, guess what? It's time they're gonna, and I'm like, no, no, it makes me sad. that, you always look at your babies like they're still littler than what they are. And I'm just like, I'm not ready yet for her to go to kindergarten, even though she's not going to go till not this year, but next year because her birthday is like near the cutoff, like mine was. And they said she missed, like, she is born, we have to wait till she's 5 by August, so that won't be till the following year. They didn't even, sometimes they'll give you an option, like when my sister went to school, she was either going to be late, like a year later than everybody, or a year earlier because she was a cutoff baby. My mom put her in earlier. They didn't give us that option. And honestly, I didn't want her to be in school at 4, like going every day. I think that's too much anyway. It'd be too much on her, too much on me. But it's still, I don't know. It's hard to see them growing up sometimes. Cause she's my little buddy. I've had her, with me. A lot of times when I have off, she's with me, instead of going to daycare. So that's gonna be like a little bit tough, but to I'm trying to send her to daycare a little more so that she could get more of the routine and I could get more used to her not being here, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, I missed somebody's question about eggs. Yes, eggs are very expensive. Although sometimes I'll go to the store and they're not too bad, but I feel like it depends on the day. Sometimes I work in healthcare. I also do reselling, like as like a little side hustle. But I'm trying to get more into doing that again. I've taken time off. Um, it's hard to always be keeping up with that, especially when you're sick or like I had a lot of like my cats being sick and then they passed away. I just had too much going on to be like listing every day. Or I was listing not every day, but I was listing every week. And I've kind of got away from that. I need to get back. Oh no, COVID was by design. I don't know. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. There's always like conspiracy theories with stuff like that. I think it's hard to track. It's always going to be hard to like, will we ever have all the answers? I don't know. But I'd like to think that it was not by design because that is terrible. I saw, a lot of people died during that time. And I would like to think the governments aren't that awful that they would do that, but who really knows, but I don't know that I believe that, but but I can see why people do to a degree, if that makes sense, because there was like a lot of questions of the origin. And, anyways, that was a terrible time, especially when I was working in healthcare, but it was a terrible time for a lot of people, I think. I'm glad. I hope we learned something from that. I think I did, and yeah. But there's always an illness though that's going around that there's so many things too now, like so many more viruses, so many more bacteria, so many, because just the nature of the world, like we're traveling more. Some people aren't vaccinated. There's all kinds of things. I feel like they're also mutating constantly and getting smarter and evolving along with us. So we need to be as prepared as we can, I think. Yes, I'm a millennial. How do I feel about Trump? Oh gosh, why is this getting political already? Well, I mean, I, that's okay. Um, I'm not, um, I don't know. I hope that he helps our economy, but yeah, I'm not too huge into politics, like either side, to be honest. But and I don't think we should spend too much time in a way getting wrapped up with that, but it's hard. It's like a necessary thing. It's like insurance. Like, who loves insurance companies? But it's like we need to have it. I don't know. Just like we need to have politicians. But I am a millennial. I think I'm almost considered Gen X, or somebody told me, "Oh, you're Gen X," but not really when I Googled it. But I was born in the late '80s, so. But I probably I w- I don't know. Every generation has their like quirks and whatever. I definitely identify with the millennial, but yeah, sometimes I could identify with what is it, Gen Z and Gen X as well. My my grandparents, there was a big generational gap between me and my grandparents because like my grandparents had my mom later in life and my mom had me later in life. So my grandparents were from the Great Depression era, and there was a lot of you see a lot of change when you go from like a generation that old to a generation like me. They were I don't even know. I don't want to was it the Great Depression I don't even know what you called them. I'm sorry. I forget right now. But there's a big you see a lot of changes when it's like that big of a gap. And plus, I knew that when they passed away when I was like in my early 20s, so there was a lot of differences then. Now I would probably be able to connect with them better, but it could make it more challenging. So I feel like you go through more things with your generation so you understand people from your generation better. But when it's that big of a gap, sometimes it's kind of hard. But and being that they were from the Depression era, like, that depression the Great Depression or whatever definitely affected that era, like, and World War II and yeah, like, for sure. They were still, like, I think, haunted by the Great Depression because I don't think people understand the level of poverty that was like, yes, we still have poverty issues, but, like, a level like that people have not seen, like, from what I've heard stories about from, um, my mom, like, how they had to grow up, like, I don't know, foraging for, like, stuff out in outside to eat, basically, it's terrible. Like, I'm glad we've come some we're not just like COVID was terrible, that was terrible, like, well, I'd like to think the politicians do care about us, but it's politics. Like, it's a freaking game. You know what I mean? Like, they don't get where they are by being like honest and the days of Uncle of Honest Abe are long gone, I think. Like, it's definitely like a chess game, I think, to be a politician. And I'd like to think they started out trying to help people, like, and that they still have that even if they're playing, to the media or whatever. But some of them I really do like, yikes. Like, I don't know that all of them joined to help the common people. Like, I think some of them are in it for not the right reasons, just like every profession, but even more so with politics, because it's politics. I think it attracts a certain type of personality. I just do the opposite of what they say. I just try to live my life and you could get so stressed out about life is already difficult enough, let alone and yes, you do need to be aware of things, you do need to be voting, blah blah blah, but you can only control so much, right? So that's hilarious. Uh, but yes, I know that he somebody asked me about Trump earlier. He's a very polarizing, I think, figure, and he always has been. And a lot of the higher up politicians are. Like, I think you have to have a strong personality to get to the top, if that makes sense, because if you're Joe Schmo, nobody's gonna remember to vote for you. You know what I mean? A cup of tea. That sounds like a good idea. I'm still like congested. I can't stand sinus and ear infections are just like the most annoying. They're just you just are so congested. I'm sure it doesn't help either that like it's turning into spring now and it's cold, so I feel like some of it too could be allergies. Like it started off as an infection, but now it's just like having trouble. My body's having trouble because of like all the pollen or whatever. Anyway, well, I should probably get going here. I've been on for a while, but I've been watching a lot of TV and being on my phone a lot. Not great, but you know, that's how it is when you're sick. But I've kind of enjoyed it because I've been so like go, go, go and not giving myself a break, which I'm learning is not good either. But I think I'm hard on myself sometimes because I was late diagnosed ADHD, so I feel like I have to catch up for time when I didn't realize I had ADHD and was wasting time. And plus, I'm kind of like blossomed later in life or something. Whatever. So I feel like I'm always playing catch up. So it's important. If my message to you guys all is make sure you take some time to slow down sometimes so you don't wind up sick like me. And that is part of taking care of yourself as well. We don't do a good job of letting people like rest in the hospital, but it's like so important. Like I was doing all the things, taking vitamin C, what do you call it? The energy C. I was doing that. I was drinking like more fluids than what I normally do. I was trying to clear out my sinuses best as I could. You know, some people use a neti pot, whatever. I was doing all those things, but because I wasn't resting when I was at work, I still like today's the best I felt because I've been resting at home. Like you could do all those, eat all the right things, work out, but if you're not resting, you're not going to get better, if that makes sense. Yes, I think America is very beautiful, and we have like from living in a different state, I feel like you don't realize how beautiful each state is so beautiful in each even within states, like America's just so big that you can have totally different landscapes that are really pretty within like one state. Like where I live now, totally different than other parts of Pennsylvania. Um, but where I'm from is beautiful, and where I live now is beautiful, uh, in their own way, if that makes sense. I would love to like road trip across America someday. And like that is on my bucket list because I love doing like road trips and seeing like how different parts of the country are, and it does really shape who you are, I think, too. Like each state is so different in America, like how it's run, how the governments work, the laws, everything, the culture. Oh, homemade Irish. I think my mom made that. I'm Irish. My mom's Irish. I guess I'm third generation Irish. So, my mom's actually going back to Ireland again, like in a little while. She goes back there. I guess we have some relatives, like distant relatives still she goes and sees. And she makes this bread. I don't know if it's Irish soda, but it's like I'm assuming that's what it is. She says they have it over in Ireland a lot, and it's like brown and thick, but it tastes pretty good. All right, well, everybody have a good day. Thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna try to go live more often on here since TikTok and me had a breakup, and I'm sick of TikTok. Back to my old ex YouTube. Yes, I am. All right, bye guys. Don't forget to, oh yeah, don't, I should say this. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like content like this. Take care. Have a good day. She is going to, oh God, sorry. My head is still in a cloud from being sick. Oh my God. Oh, I know where we have relatives in like Donegal, so I think she's going there. My grandpa, so his mom came over on the boat from Ireland, kind of like around Titanic time, but luckily, obviously not, she was not on Titanic because she definitely would have died. She would have, because she was poor and yeah, and she had the Irish brogue, all that. But would have been discriminated against and put in one of those like crappy cabins, and then yeah. But anyway, thank God she did it. That's why I'm here. But his name was Mixter, so that's an Irish name. So, and I think that's what her name was. I don't know. It's kind of sad she could never go back. See, like, times were so hard. I mean, not that times aren't hard now, but back then, if you came over on the boat from Ireland, that was it. You like, especially if you were poor, like, she never got to go see her parents or anything. There was no FaceTime, there was none of this, and there was no technology. Like, you could write a letter, they might not get it for like 6 months or whatever. So she never got to see any of them ever again when she came over to America. Um, her siblings or parents, and she was kind of treated badly because she was a poor Irish immigrant in this country, which is sad. But, you know, check out your ancestors' history because a lot of them went through a lot of crap to get us to this country. So I'm thankful. Okay, take care. Bye.